Hayden said, "You awake now?" Hayden said, "Oh, brother. What are you doing here?" Hayden said, "Why else? To read, of course." "Wow, you're already reading a tough book like this?" Hayden replied, "Yes, I was interested in this subject, so." Hayden said, "You're such a fast learner." Hayden said, Brother, if you don't mind, maybe from now on we could." Hayden's mother called. "Hayden, what are you doing over there? Won't you come join me for tea? We can have those delicious cookies you like." Hayden said, "But I have a lesson soon." Hayden said, "Oh, good day, mother." Hayden's mother said, "Hayden, I am not your mother. Just how many times do I have to say that for it to get through that head of yours?" Hayden said, "Mother." Mother said, "Oh dear. Just look at me. Our tea will get cold. Come along, Hayden." Hayden replied, "But Hayden." Hayden thought to himself, "It's just as she said. I am not her son. My mother was a commoner. I heard she passed away before I was even 3 years old. A bastard child, and the younger son at that. Under normal circumstances, I would never have been allowed to live in this castle with them. I was hoping we could study together." However, Hayden said, "Mother, please don't treat Hayden so harshly. You know very well that he hasn't done anything wrong." Mother said, "You're right. I know. I'm well aware of that. That man is the only one to blame for all this, and Hayden is probably the most pitiable child here. Yet I can't hold back my hatred whenever I see his face. It should be you in his place." Hayden continued, thinking, "I am the heir to the McGregor family. Others have said that Hayden, the eldest son, is too weak and frail to carry the family line. But in truth, my older brother excels at everything he does. Horseback riding, sword fighting, even academics. He's far better than me in everything. He's the person I look up to the most. I've always been the shy type, yet he always approaches me first. He's my incredible, kind older brother, yet I was named the sole heir to the McGregor fortune. I could never understand why when I was a little boy." Someone said to Hayden's mother, "Diane, is it true you invited Hayden to join you for tea again?" Diane said, "That's right. Am I not allowed to do that?" The man said, "But that was during his kingship lesson. I told you not to disturb him at that time as it is vital. Are you really planning to get in the way of Hayden's future like this? You're the one who's getting in the way of his future." Diane said, "The destiny of the McGregor bloodline, or whatever, it's all a joke to me. Who's the one stealing away his future all because of some ghost from the past?" The man said, I see you've finally gone mad, Diane." Diane said, "That's right. I've gone completely insane. The madness of your family is actually driving me out of my mind, demon. You're nothing but a demon. If I had known this family was full of lunatics, I never would have married you, Hayden." Ryder said, long ago, there was a kingdom. Its king was a wise and benevolent ruler, but he was very old. Because this king did not have an heir, he decided to leave his throne to one of the two houses that had contributed greatly to the kingdom. One house was wealthy and quite skillful, while the other was very loyal and known for its talented people. The king could not make up his mind. Both houses were excellent, strong, and had many supporters. Then, one day, while he was still trying to decide, the king suddenly fell ill and soon died. The loyal family believed he had been poisoned, but there was no evidence, so no one believed them. After that, a fierce war broke out. Bodies began piling up as high as mountains. Towns and villages crumbled, and then all were burned to ash. The tides were clearly turning in one house's favor. A person said, "This is indeed the end." The king said, "Just how much wealth has Lycaon amassed until now? Just look at all the flags outside. So many houses have gathered against us. Oswald itself is our enemy now." Amelia said, "How can this be?" The king replied, "Amelia, listen to me very carefully. The house of McGregor ends here tonight, but that does not mean the end for us all. Not all of us have to die here. You can start anew with the child you are carrying." Amelia said, That's impossible. How could I ever do that on my own?" The king said, "Joyce, I have a favor to ask of you." Joyce said, "Yes." The king said, "Please stay with the lady and protect her until their dream has been fulfilled, and name our child after me. Then have his child named after him, and the child after as well, so that we may guard the house of McGregor for generations." Amelia said, "As you wish, my beloved." The king said, "You see, Joyce will help you. Darling, have you sealed off the secret passage?" A soldier said, "Yes, sir. I'm in your debt." The king said, "Don't mention it. A McFadden must forever be a Hayden's right-hand man." That night, the house of McGregor was destroyed. Joyce said, "We must go now, my lady. There may be trackers out searching the area for us." Emilia said, if we had more wealth? Joyce replied, pardon? Emilia said, a wealth so great and unshakable that it could never be challenged, a wealth that could hire an army of soldiers, no matter how long the war lasted. We need more. That throne belongs to Hayden. Writers said after that night, Lady Emilia devoted her life to trading. The maid said she had realized that honor was not the key to winning a war. Only money could do that. House McGregor had to accumulate a great deal of wealth over several years and only became a noble house again after donating a large portion of it to the nobility. There were many children named Hayden born during that time, and a McFadden always stood by his side. A Hayden has been the heir to the McGregor house for generations, and I myself have already served 3 Haydens. Caden said, but my name is Caden. My older brother is Hayden, so why am I the heir now? Not only this time. This is not the only time. Run away, Master Caden. Caden thought to himself that after that night, he didn't see his nanny again. He tried asking the other servants, but they said she had returned home. However, she had served 3 masters in their castle alone. Why would she return to a home where no one would be waiting for her? The people who were kind to him always seemed to disappear without a trace one day, and he was afraid. Then one night, out of nowhere, the unexpected happened. Caden's father said, try saying that again. Caden said, I said you're a coward, father. Why did you send mother to the king? Why didn't you refuse? His father said there was nothing else to be done in order to maintain the trust of the king. Caden said, I asked you, why? Why can't you give up your greed for the throne? Even if it's only now, we can still live our own lives, not as Haydens. Why did you have to sacrifice mother for your duty? His father said, you're asking a rather odd question. That woman is merely a tool I chose after long and careful consideration. I can use her however the need suits. Everything from her looks and intellect to her etiquette, I considered all of them carefully before selecting her. Thanks to that, you were born. You are my greatest creation, and you will without a doubt become king. However, it would appear I'll need to teach you another lesson in manners. Caden continued thinking that he felt a chill race down his spine. It was as if a fog had lifted and he finally knew the answer to all the questions he had been asking. A tool. His mother, his nanny, and he. They were all tools to be tossed away when they were no longer of any use. Then the next day, after being offered against her will to the king, Diane McGregor hung herself. Caden was thinking, have you heard about the lady? She won't be allowed to rest in the house of McGregor graveyard. The Lord was firmly against it. He doesn't wish to further upset the king. Now that you mention it, I haven't seen the Lord. Where is he? He's gone to the city. Something about offering gold and jewels to appease the king. Oh my, how cowardly. The young Master Caden was the only one who attended the service from their family. What about Master Hayden? He so deeply loved his mother. Didn't you know? I heard he's been imprisoned in the West Tower, and the Lord forbade any food, water, or other person from going there. Good heavens. The Lord wouldn't even allow his son to stand at his mother's side in her final moment. Oh my, that's so cruel. Caden said, oh, McFadden, thank you. Hayden. Caden thought that he couldn't ask if he was all right because it was so obvious that he wasn't. He made sure that mother had a proper send-off. Caden said so, you don't need to worry. Then he thought, fool, what in the world am I saying? What should I do? What if I upset him even more? Hayden said, Caden. Caden replied, yes. Hayden said, thank you. You took care of what should have been my responsibility. But I'm sorry. I need to ask you for one more favor. Such a tragedy as this must never repeat again in the future. You and I, mother, and even father, we've all lost far too much. We must put an end to this madness. Let's end it all with our own hands. Hayden was thinking that night his face was a battered mess of blood and bruises, but his eyes burned bright with resolve. That's when he thought he had the eyes of a king. When his eyes burn with purpose like that, anyone will trust him, follow him, and wish to be of service to him. So he thought that would be the one thing he would never be able to do the way he could. The Duke said, Your Majesty. Hayden continued thinking, but still, I hope to be like him. Hayden said, I was just thinking about the old days. Ah, we've come a long way. The Duke replied, that's right. We really managed to make it all this way, together. The writer said, I hoped I could take after even just a faint ray of that burning light. The king said, anyhow, is Count Polit showing any signs of unrest? I heard he invaded Westfield. The Duke said, he's been rather quiet lately. The king said, that's even more suspicious. The Duke said, well, yes, that's true. He even sent spies to watch us, so it's not that he's suddenly lost interest or anything. Anyway, we can't lower our guard just yet. The king said, so then you won't have much time to stay, right? The Duke said, I'm afraid not. The king said, oh well, it's not like this sort of matter can be taken lightly. Oh, but you should at least take part in the jousting tournament. The Duke asked, jousting? The king said yes. Every festival should have a bit of entertainment for the people. Plus, it offers each house a chance to make a show of their strength. A great deal of knights will be participating. Even I plan to show everyone that my sword is still sharp. So how about it? The Duke said, will the knights from Viscount William's house be partaking? The king said, huh? Ah, he disobeyed my command and spread baseless rumors on top of that. They probably will, but you don't need to punish him. I'll take care of that. The Duke said, no. I have some business of my own with those knights, a lesson I must teach them with my own 2 hands. The king said, well, I'm happy to see you intend on participating. I'll have your lance and jousting armor made ready. Wonderful. The Duke said, well. The king said, I expect a good show from you, Duke. The Duke thought, I see. The Duke said, I won't disappoint you, my king. The king said, rest well until the banquet and tournament. I shall see you then. McFadden said, rest well until the banquet and tournament. I shall see you then. Did the 2 of you have a nice chat? The Duke said, of course, why wouldn't we? But you didn't get a chance to catch up with him. I'll try to set up another meeting later. McFadden said, that's all right. He is no longer someone who should be on speaking terms with a servant such as myself. Just seeing that he's doing well is good enough for me. The Duke said, right. We are the ones who put him in such a position. McFadden, find out if Kiefer is here with Count Politics. Kiefer is the commander at Darkfield. The Count came all the way to the city, and there's a jousting tournament for the festival. A man who cares about honor as much as he does wouldn't leave his strongest knight behind. McFadden said, very well. The Duke said, if Kiefer is here, we have nothing to worry about. But if he's not, we should prepare ourselves just in case. Will this really be all right? Of course. Someone said, but, my dear, the Queen said I already told you not to worry. But we disobeyed the king's command. And what's more, we even spread those rumors. Oh my, surely the king won't stay quiet about such things. There's no need to worry about any of that, father, for I shall become the next queen. Anna's father said, but, Anna, what if you are not to the king's liking? If the king questions me about those rumors we spread, I never should have followed that plan of yours. Anna said, father, look at me. How do I look today? Her father replied, huh? Beautiful, of course. Anna said, exactly. So what sort of man wouldn't lust after me? I'm fully confident of this. Her father said, I'm fully confident of this. Anna thought to herself, what a pathetic fool. You're the one who tried to sell me off in the first place, and now you're trembling in fear of persecution. Anna said, if, just in case, Eli finds out, just say this. I'm too sick to leave, and my other sisters are too young. That's why you, a bastard, were sent instead. Anna thought that after telling her that, she sent that useless maid in her place. However, she soon changed her mind. A shabby lie like that wouldn't last for long. Sooner or later, she would be found out, and then their family would be responsible for the deception. If that were the case, then she needed to make the first move. Even if Eli were to find out the truth and complain to Caden, the city would already be full of rumors about the maid who stole her place. She would have already told him the excuse she was instructed to say, so in the end the blame would fall on someone else. Anna said, I beg your forgiveness, your majesty. I tried to stop him, but my father, even though I was sick, I am guilty of not following the king's royal command. I will accept any punishment you see fitting. The king said, Anna, I was a fool. To think I could ever consider allowing another man to marry you. Anna, I've never seen a woman as beautiful as you. Anna said, your majesty, won't you marry me? Anna smiled, Eheh. Anna thought, well, it's still only a silly daydream, but it's not entirely impossible. In fact, everything has been going according to my plan up until now. All that's left is for me to play my part. But if things really do go as planned, my father won't be able to avoid trial. Sorry, father. If I become queen, I'll at least make sure you won't be executed. A soldier said, what do you think, my lord? The Duke said, very nice. If you come across any other fine fabrics, do not hesitate to buy them. The soldier said, as you wish. All right, that is all for now. I'm trusting you with this. Of course. You can count on me, my lord. My lord, may I come in? The Duke said, yes. The door is open. McFadden said, pardon me for intruding on your personal time. The Duke said, not at all. It's no trouble. Is this concerning Count Polit? McFadden said yes. We were unable to locate Kiefer amongst the competitors or other guests. Both Philly and Phil Lawns searched the castle from top to bottom. He was nowhere to be found near the Count's accommodations, nor in any of the lodgings reserved for the knights. The Duke said, I see. Let's wait until the jousting tournament. There's still a chance he could be romping about with a prostitute somewhere. McFadden said, very well. The Duke thought, blast. I'm sure it's nothing. It has to be nothing. But what is this uneasy feeling? The king said, Then our next competitor is the legend of the battlefield, Duke Eli. A soldier said he's competing in the tournament himself. Must be bored now that the war's over. The women were talking, my. He's quite the handsome one. I know, so manly. Anna thought to herself, humph. He's nothing but a commoner. The king thought, what? Why is he suddenly? Blast. Now I have to face the legend himself? Suppose I won't be winning this time. No. Legends are simply exaggerations. If I defeat him here today, then, a commander said, you there. The king said, did you know an Edna who used to work for the Viscount? The commander thought, Edna? Oh, is she the maid who he was tricked into marrying? The commander said, no. We do not trouble ourselves with remembering the names of maids in the house of the Viscount, my lord. The king said, Then let me rephrase my question. Have you ever laid a hand on one of the maids in that castle? The commander said, I am unsure of what you mean by lay a hand on one. But whatever the meaning. Yes, I have. The king said, I see. Well then, the commander said there's no need for me to restrain myself. Yeah, the king said, wow. Incredible. Did you see that? His armor was crushed, and all he had was that wooden lance to joust with. What a monster. A soldier said, next up, Sir Lewis from the land of Rabbite. What? You withdraw? Then, Sir Pole from the land of Tull. Sir Harrington from the land of Argon. Surely not all of you have chosen to give up. Another man said, I'll compete against him. I am Goth of Darkfield. Put that on your list. The father said, have you lost your mind? Do you have any idea what sort of man he is? I thought you were a coward, but I didn't know you were an idiot as well. The son said, I do. I can tell what he's capable of just from seeing that last match. Even so, I shall win. And when I do, you must acknowledge me as your heir, as your eldest son. The father said, how pointless. Just don't embarrass my name. The king thought, so he came. Is he actually going to compete himself? I thought he'd send out another knight in his place. Well, he's got spirit. Still, someone said, hey. The king said, that helmet doesn't look like it was made for jousting. Is this your first time competing in a horseback jousting tournament, young Master Goth? A soldier said, TSK. That's none of your concern. The commander thought the count sent someone who isn't remotely prepared to do this. And is heir at that? Just what are you playing at? The men said, Count Politics. The son thought, Father is watching me. It's all right. A wooden lance couldn't possibly kill me. All I have to do is dismount him from his horse. It will be fine. I can do this. I shall gain my father's acknowledgement. I will defeat him. McFadden said, Count throughout the tournament as you instructed. The commander said, McFadden. McFadden said, and there was still no sign of Kiefer anywhere. I still doubt that he's up to something. But the commander said, we're heading back. Prepare to leave as soon as possible, and only inform the men who are necessary to travel back with us. The civilians can return with the rest of our soldiers once the festival is over. McFadden said, yes, my lord. The commander thought, blast. That calculating bastard. Please be safe. Edna said, the sky is so clear today. Raoul said, good morning, my lady. Edna replied, good morning, Raoul. Chris said, UNN. What is it, my lady? Edna said, oh, nothing. Nothing at all. By the way, Chris, how are you getting along with Rhea these days? Chris said, with Rhea? Edna replied, yes. You and her are both my close friends, so I do hope you two will get along. Chris said, well, she's your personal doctor and ritual sister as well, so I'm comfortable around her. Also, there are some matters I should see to personally, so. But why are you looking at me that way? Please stop that. Edna said, what? I'm just happy to hear you two are hitting it off so well. Oh, huh. For some reason, it feels embarrassing. Hey. Chris said, and please don't laugh like that, madam. A soldier said, welcome, my lady. I heard you haven't been feeling well for some time. I do hope your health has improved. Edna said, I'm fine. I was just a bit tired, that's all. I apologize for not being able to come visit more often. Everyone must be working so hard. There must be so much for me to check on. Shall we get right to it? The soldier said, of course. Right this way. You can have a look inside. Edna said, phew. Chris said, are you feeling all right? You seem a bit tired. Edna said, I'm all right. I haven't been out in a while, that's all. My body may feel a bit tired, but I feel more energized than ever. The town is truly returning to its former glory, even without me here to give any orders. All this land that was barren and dry only a few months ago is now lush, and the crops are growing. The people who were starving and near death from exhaustion before now smile with so much vigor in life. I'm witnessing all the life this land has to offer, and also the power of each and every person here. I'm not tired at all. No, on the contrary, I'm a bit. No, actually, I'm very, very happy. Chris said yes, it's just as you said. The commander shouted, bandits. Enough to form a squadron. Hurry, go gather all the soldiers. What about Lady Edna? Is she still out visiting the town? Eli, Edna said that's. Ritual called from his horse. Chris. My lady, you're here as well. Thank heavens. Chris said. Ritual. What's going on? Ritual said we're under attack. The soldiers are holding them off in the east. The attackers are disguised as bandits, but Count Polit's knights are clearly among them. My lady, we don't know where they'll attack next. Quickly, you must read. Chris said they must be fighting them off in the west now as well. Edna thought to herself that first they attacked in the east, and now there was a simultaneous attack in the west. They had been planning this for a while. Rhea said, remember, my lady, your womb is weaker than most other women's. Therefore you have a higher risk of having a miscarriage. It will take at least 2 months for the little one to stabilize, so you mustn't overexert yourself for at least the next 2 months. While you walk, as you sit, every little movement counts. You must take caution at all times. If by any chance you start bleeding, then, Chris said that's, Ritual set a signal. It's from the watchtower near town. Blast. Then was the west just a decoy as well? Chris said, my lady, we must return to the castle immediately. They'll be in this town any moment now. Lady Edna. Edna thought, why now of all times? Is this divine punishment? Because a sinner like me shouldn't be allowed happiness? Dear Lord, is this what you want? The Duke said, may the good Lord protect us all, so that none of us shall perish needlessly. Edna said. Chris. Chris said, yes, madam. Edna said, gather as many able men and women in the town as you can, now. Every house needs to be drenched with water. When those bandits arrive, they will definitely try to burn down the town first. Set up barriers at every open path leading here. Make 2 barriers at every opening, but put enough distance between them so that if a horse were to jump over one, they would get stuck behind the second one. Also, locate Friar Noel and ask him if there are any hiding places the people can retreat to. I think I saw an underground passageway in the church's blueprints. Chris said, my lady. Edna said, Ritual. Gather the soldiers and help the townspeople to evacuate. The monks can help with keeping everyone calm. Chris said, my lady. We don't have time for this. You must return to the castle before they get here. Edna said, that's right, Chris. We don't have time. We have quite a lot to prepare, so hurry. Chris said, my lady, please. Edna said that was an order. They already ambushed us when we had our guard down. We can't let them extinguish the hope which only just began to take root in this town. That's why you must follow my orders. Well, what are you waiting for? We can do this. We shall not fail. I will protect each and every one of you. In turn, you shall guard me. Chris, lend me your whip. Ritual, get word of my orders to our other soldiers and follow them exactly as I instructed. Quickly, there's no time to waste. Ritual and Chris said, yes, your grace. Edna said, yeah. Edna thought, dear Lord, if this is a test, then I shall endure so that I may overcome this and any other trial. Forgive me, mother. Just this once, I shall fight again as Eden. Please, let it only be this once, at least just for now. Please watch over me, so that I may protect both the thousands of townspeople and the future of my own child.